Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take me getting used to there being a different logo on the intro screen to this. If you have no idea why it says York City there rather than Boston United, before you do anything else, go back and make sure you check out Season 2, Episode 9 and Episode 10. They both came out yesterday. They are pretty much... They need to be viewed, so you know what's going on. Certainly if you've been following the series so far. That being said, you've now joined us at a fantastic jumping on point for the whole series. So if you're new to the channel, you're at the start of a new season with a new team. It's basically like the start of a new save, so it's a great time to jump in, get involved. And because of that, I'd love it if we could get this episode up to at least 50 likes. So if you could pop a like on there for me, if you're enjoying the series so far, if you're new and you've enjoyed this episode, would be very, very much appreciated. Coming up in today's episode, I've got a live commentary of the first game of the season, which is away to Maidenhead in the Vanarama National League. Before I get into that, though, I'm going to give you the story of my pre-season. There's been a lot of comings and goings of players at the club, as well as a fairly mixed bunch of pre-season friendlies, and then we're going to jump into the match later on in the episode. So, first headline is, I mentioned this in the last episode, we were way over the wage budget. The wage budget was £16,000 a week. We were spending £21,000 when I joined the club. I wasn't even able to offer contracts to any new players. I wasn't able to offer sensible contract renewals to most of the players who were at the club. So as a result of that, we've released 17 players, and a lot of them were first team regulars last season, and they've gone because either I couldn't offer them a sensible contract, or I kind of didn't want to because they didn't quite fit in with what I wanted to be doing with the club. So quite a few noticeable big names from last season are now gone, but the rebuilding starts here. So that's the squad that I'm starting with at the start of the rebuilding process. Mostly players that were at the club last season. The only addition I've made to that so far is Sean Robertson, who's a 15-year-old lad who I've drafted in from the under-18s. One of the things I'm being judged on this season is developing the club's own youth talent, and he does look like a talent. So when the squad is so threadbare anyway, why not bring a youngster into the first team squad? So he joins the first team squad. I'm going to give you a quick run through of the other players who were in there. I'm not going to, it's already going to be a fairly long episode with everything else I need to get through, so I'm not going to dwell on these players too much. If you want to see the individual stats and study them in depth, obviously pause the video, and if you want me to go into anyone in a bit more depth or go through my thought process for keeping these players and not some of the others in future episodes, just let me know in the comments. Always happy to answer questions down there. I try and answer every comment I ever get. So, firstly, in fact, I'll skip back a sec. You'll notice there's no goalkeepers there because there weren't any at the club. The only one we had was on loan, and he didn't want to come back. So we start with a right back, Alex Brister, 23 years old. Looks like he's going to do a perfectly good job as one of the two right backs that we've got at the club. The other one is Eddie Nolan, 28 years old. He's probably going to be my starting right back. Can also play at left back, centre back, holding midfield. Good to have that versatility at the club, and he's got 3 caps for Ireland as well, so he's clearly a useful player, especially at this level, so glad to have him sticking around. He can use either foot as well, so that's going to be really handy for switching in between the two fullback positions, which I imagine I'm going to have to do because there's not going to be much in the way of backup at the club, and we've got 2 fairly good right backs there. We've got Keith Lowe, who is a 31-year-old centre-back who can also play out at right-back. Looks very, very good for this level. I am a little bit concerned that he's earning an awful lot of money for the conference, £1,300 a week. But realistically, we're not going to be able to sell him on. There's no value to him. He's under contract, and it has been pointed out in the comments that one of the places I potentially went wrong with Boston is that we had such a young squad. So Lowe has been around the club for a few years. He's older, he's experienced. I'm gonna keep him around at least for this season, just to lend a bit of experience to the squad and a bit of quality as well, because he is a good centre back for this level. Alongside him, we've got a youngster, Taryn Hare, 20-year-old. Didn't really play much last season, but is another example of me trying to develop some of the young players that we've got at the club. Looks perfectly adequate as probably a backup centre-back for us or a first-team squad player. Wouldn't like to have to be starting him regularly just yet, but if needs must, I'm sure he'll do a half-decent job. And then at left-back, we've got Alex Smith, 25 years old. again, looks like a perfectly good left back for this level. It's a good squad that I've inherited here at York. There's not going to be any excuses this season. Matt Breeze, right winger, 24 years old, came through the Peterborough youth team, can also play as an attacking midfielder or as a support striker. Very quick, good in the air for a midfield player, especially for such a short one. Not so good at jumping though, which is a bit of a shame. But he hits a good corner. Really happy to have this lad at the club. Adds a little bit of quality, a little bit of flair. I expect a lot of assists from this guy, and part of the thinking behind the tactic we're going to use this season is trying to get the best out of Matt Breeze. Because if we don't get promoted, he's not going to still be at the club next season. He is too good to be playing in non-league. James Berrett is going to be in midfield, 28 years old, another older player to keep around the club, lots of experience, lots of quality for this level, can play in defence or slightly further forward as well if need be, but I expect him to be my starting central midfielder all season for as long as he's fit. Corey Francis, younger option, 21-year-old Welsh attacking midfielder. I'm going to be playing him slightly further deep. Already got him retraining to be a central midfield player. He'll fit nicely into the advanced playmaker role in central midfield that we're going to be using. Similar to the system we used with Boston back in the Conference North. Ryan Lloyd is a left winger, 23 years old, likes to play a little bit further forward than ideally I'm going to want to play him. I only want to play with one out and out winger, again similar to the old Boston system that worked so well. That winger is going to be Matt Breeze all day long, so Ryan Lloyd is either going to need to get used to playing as a wide midfielder and tucking inside a little bit, which he doesn't look like he's going to do. He's going to need to get used to playing as a striker, which might be a bit of a struggle. Or most realistically, probably we're going to try and cash in on him, which might involve giving him a few games early in the season just to try and get someone to offer some money for him. The club are £250,000 in debt. If we could get 50 or 100,000 for this lad, who again is too good for non-league but just doesn't fit into how I want to be playing, then I'd take the money and run quite happily. Otherwise, he'll probably be a backup so that we can switch the system around if Breeze is unavailable, or if Breeze needs to slot in up front, make the winger out on the left in the shape of Lloyd, and then play a wide midfielder on the right. That's an option there for us as well. Jordan Slew, up front, 24 years old, scored a lot of goals last season, 24 goals last season for York. Likes to play as a target man, but can also play as a poacher, advance forward, deep line forward. Lots of flexibility from him. He's quick. He's decent enough in the air. He's good at finishing. He looks like the closest. He's not far off being the complete striker at this level, and lots of quality for this level. 6'3" as well. My kind of player. I'm expecting a lot of goals from Jordan Slew this season. And then this is the young lad, 15-year-old Sean Robertson. Obviously has a long way to go in his development, but encouragingly he's already good in the air. He's got good first touch and quite high flair as well, so he's going to make a good target man or deep lying forward one day. So he's certainly going to be in and around the first team squad, and has awesome hair as well, which is another good reason to give him game time. That's the finances. Like I say, they are a bit of a mess. It's actually worse than I thought. It's nearly £300,000 in debt. So there is no transfer budget, and even after 17 players leaving, we're still spending £13,500 a week on wages. So we've got less than £3,000 a week to play with. So it's going to be tricky to fill out this first team squad. But fill it out we shall. There's going to be a lot of loans coming in because we haven't got much wage money to throw around. But first loan has arrived. Jimmy Lee, 21-year-old, right winger, going to be cover for Matt Breeze, and he's going to be a pretty decent cover option. Might even start pushing him for a place later in the season, but certainly going to start things off as backup to Matt Breeze on the right wing. We've signed a goalkeeper as well, Elliot Parrish, 27 years old. He actually played every single game for Colchester in League, I can't remember if it was League 1 or League 2 last season. It was certainly in the Football League. Conceded a heck of a lot of goals and they got relegated from, I think they were in League 1, and he played 46 games, conceded about 90 goals. But, he was playing in League 1 last season. He's 27 years old, looks like a very good goalkeeper for this level, and only cost £400 a week. I assume there's something wrong with him, but I can't see it immediately. So people who are better at digging into the stats than I am, tell me what's wrong with this guy, because he looks like a fantastic signing to me, especially at that price. Dion Conroy has come in on loan. This lad has come in on loan from Bolton, I believe. Centre back will slot in probably be our starting centre-back alongside Lowe. Was that his name? I'm still learning all the players' names. But 21 years old, looks like a very good prospect. We are having to pay him some money to be here, but I think he's worth it because he's a very good... Actually, no, sorry, Dion Conroy wasn't the one on loan from Bolton. He comes in a minute. Dion Conroy was a free transfer signing from Chelsea. I'm an idiot. Yeah, he's actually our player. He's here for 2 years. That's why we're paying him money. And yeah, he's going to be a starting centre back alongside Lowe. We brought in there'll be a Bolton player on loan in a minute. It'll all start to make sense. Jesse Starkey has come in on a free transfer, 21-year-old midfielder. I actually signed this guy ahead of Kyle Dixon. I hope I'm not going to regret that. I've let Dixon disappear. I've terminated his trial just because this lad looks better. He looks like he can do everything Kyle Dixon can do, but he's a little bit better at it. So I'll probably end up hating Jesse Starkey and everything he stands for because I love Kyle Dixon. Just can't afford to have him at the club. I can't afford to have them both. And that was a difficult decision, and I'm pretty sure already I've made the wrong one. We signed a young left back or central midfielder called Kyron Farrell. He can play in either position. I've signed him primarily as cover at left back, but it looks like his favourite position is central midfield. He'll probably provide cover in both. When we're operating on the tiny squad we're likely to be operating on, when you can bring a lad in who can play comfortably in two positions for only £200 a week, who's 20 years old with lots of potential to improve, I call that good signing. Anthony Dolan, 19-year-old left midfielder. Not sure if he'll start straight away because, as I mentioned before, we need to give Lloyd some game time to get people to want to buy him. But this guy fits better in with the kind of player I want out on the left-hand side. He's still primarily a winger, but better suited to playing as the wide midfielder, tucking inside a little bit, and just offers a little bit more quality to hopefully make us into more of a midfield three when we're attacking. And I want us to be almost 4-4-2 when we're defending and 4-3-3 when we're attacking. I don't know if I'm going to achieve that, but that's what I'm going for. So I want Dolan to be able to drop over into midfield, which is why I like the fact he can play in central midfield as well. And then that was our first friendly, and it was a worry. We did have a lot of trialists in the team for this game, so not as bad as it could have been, but a 2-2 draw away to Colville with our goal, our equaliser coming in the 92nd minute, wasn't the most promising of starts. We then finally brought in an assistant manager, Jack Midson. I think he's an AFC Wimbledon player in real life still. Been there a long time. He's a AFC Wimbledon icon, in fact. Why they haven't added him to their coaching staff, I don't know. But he looks like a pretty decent assistant manager. Most encouragingly, and this is a problem I had with Dele Adebola last season, it's part of the reason why we persisted with the 4-3-3 for so long. It's because that's what Adebola liked and wanted and kept pushing it in the backroom advice. So I've made sure that Jack Midson wants to play football the way I want to play football. So he prefers 4-4-2, like I do. He likes a passing playing style, like I do. He likes to attack, like I do. So hopefully he's going to help me figure out a way to make the 4-4-2 passing, attacking work, rather than constantly be in my ear going, play 4-3-3, play 4-3-3, which is what I kind of got from Dele Adebola last year. I sound like I'm moaning about Dele Adebola. Still think he's a hero. But yeah, I'm blaming him for last season now. I'm putting it all on him. This is the lad we signed on loan from Bolton. Harry Brockbank, 18-year-old centre-back. Coming in primarily as cover, but wouldn't have any qualms about dropping him straight into the side if needed. But handy to have someone in just to fill out the squad a little bit who's not costing us any money to have at the club. Which is the same reason we've brought in Keshi Anderson, a striker from Fleetwood. He's come in on loan. He's going to be a good strike partner for the guy whose name I can't remember, who I'm expecting goals from. Oh, that's just humiliating. But he's probably going to be my other starting striker, Keshi Anderson, playing as the advanced forward. He's quick, he's a good finisher, he's decent enough in the air as well. So we've got two potentially quite effective strikers at the club now, which I'm very pleased with. We brought in another striker as well. This one's on loan from Derby, Emile Rees. He's going to be a backup for us. Really, he's probably as good as the other two, but he starts the season as backup, partly because he arrived at the club last, and partly because he's really struggling for fitness. And I can't remember if I've got the screenshot for it, so I'll tell you now. I've had to send him on holiday for 3 weeks after his first friendly because he was tired. So he's not available for today's game because he's on holiday. So that's why he's starting as a backup. But he can also play in either of the wide midfield roles as well. So he's got, again, when you're operating on a small squad, it's handy to have players who can play in multiple positions. That was our next friendly, much more encouraging. 2-0 home win against Birmingham. They're still in the Championship, and we did really well. Really happy with that. The media have got us as 10-1 second favourites to get promoted, which kind of stands with where the board are expecting a playoff finish for us. The media obviously think we're any good, which is always nice to see. That's the media prediction. So Accrington, huge favourites, but then we're in a group of sort of 4 or 5 teams who are definitely going to be fighting it out for the playoffs. So I'm happy to see that. I know that's done more on reputation than quality of the squad, and we have had quite a lot of churn in the players at the club. So it might take us a month or two to get up to speed, but hopefully when we do, we will start pushing for that playoff spot if I've not been sacked before then. And that is our final squad, pretty much. I've spent all my money. I've brought in quite a few loan players, and we're going for a small squad of 20. So we've just about managed to get 2 goalkeepers. We brought a guy in on loan, I can't remember if I took a screenshot of. He's on loan from Middlesbrough, Ainsley Piers. So I didn't get a screenshot of him, obviously, or I would have mentioned him before. Everyone else I think I've mentioned and given you a quick look at. And they are our 20 players. The only other lad we've got is the 15-year-old striker, who I've put him back in the under-18s for now because there's 3 strikers in the first team squad, but he's there to bring up onto the bench as and when he's needed. So that's our squad that we're going for. The finances aren't looking quite as disastrous as they were before. Finance-wise, we're still over our budget, but only by about 700 quid. So hopefully that's not going to completely bankrupt us. That's a bit of. I said I'd start to hate Jesse Starkey. Carl Dixon wouldn't have been injured. He played every game. Every game I've played in Football Manager 2016 in this save, Carl Dixon has been in. He wouldn't have been injured. He wouldn't have strained his knee ligaments like you, Jesse Starkey. So that's 19 players we're down to now. Well, 18, because I've already mentioned Reese has been sent on holiday because he's all tired out from a long summer. But we won our next friendly away to Worcester. Encouraging to see Jordan Slew. There you go. I remember his name now. It's in front of me. The guy who I want to score all our goals, getting a couple of goals, playing alongside Keshi Anderson like he will be when the season starts. And then we also beat League 2 side Cambridge. This time the goal coming from Keshi Anderson. So both of our strikers showing that they're capable of getting goals for us. And that is confirmation that we do need to get to the playoffs this season. So I've talked for long enough. Let's get into this match. So we're away to Maidenhead. This is the team that we're going to be going for, and it's a slight tweak to a familiar enough tactic if you've been with the series for a little while. So it's very similar to the old Boston tactic that we used when we got promoted from the Conference North. The only slight tweaks is we've moved the winger over from the left to the right, purely because we had stronger left wingers at Boston, and Matt Breeze is our strongest winger here at York. So we're really focusing down this right-hand side, which means we've got a full-back on support behind him. And then rather than it being an attacking full-back at left-back, we've got an attacking wing-back to try and really push him to overlap past Dolan. And it is going to be Dolan who I'm giving a go to. Ryan Lloyd is on the bench, but I just like the fact that Dolan is better suited to this wide midfielder role and can tuck in alongside. When Corey Francis pushes forward with Breeze to sort of support the front two, I want Dolan to tuck in alongside him. And almost when we're attacking, I want this to become a back three. The midfield three to be Dolan, Francis, Barrett, and then Smith and Breeze to be really pushing forward and giving us width, almost as sort of very attacking wing backs maybe, and then that as a front two. I don't know how it's going to work. It works in my head. This is what we're going for. I've been told I use far too many team instructions, so I've taken a whole load of them off and gone down to the ones that I think are probably the most important. So they're the team instructions that we're going for. Look for overlap, stick to position, stay on feet. And with a slight difference from, probably the biggest difference from how I've played the game before, rather than control and fluid, we've gone for standard mentality and a structured team shape. Just to try something a little bit different. Hopefully we're still going to keep the ball lots because we're still trying to... actually I've turned retain possession off, which might be a bit of a problem because the board want me to retain possession, but there's only so much I can do, you know. We have got the young lad Sean Robertson on the bench today because Reese is on holiday because summer was tough for him, bless him. So Maidenhead are lining up with 4-4-2 as well, similar to our own. Oh good, Jack Midson's not confident in his ability to give tactical advice, that's handy. Didn't get that with Dele Adebola. Right, I really want to start the season off with a win. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed a live com game after the horrible run we had at the end of last season with Boston. I don't need league tables on there, that's left over from last season as well. So we just want to win this game and win it convincingly. And I want to see the team taking on the sort of shapes that I'm hoping for going forward. It has happened a couple of times in the friendlies, and I'm hoping as we get more comfortable with this system, it will happen more and more in the league as well. So Anderson's got the ball there. It's come to Matt Breeze, to Berrett, and Nolan's going to get a cross in here. Hopefully, no, he doesn't. He just loses the ball, but he's won it back again. Breeze has got it back to Nolan, to Berrett again. We just need to get a cross in. Why are we not crossing the football? Francis has got the ball now, who puts it out to Breeze. Please cross this time. He does, and we get a goal through Keshi Anderson. That's what happens when you cross the ball, lads. That's why you remember when I kept saying, please cross the football. That's why I wanted you to do that, because when we did, we scored. And I'm happy with that. So, Breeze gets in behind his fullback. Lovely cross. And Anderson, playing as an advance forward, ideally positioned to just tuck that away. And that's plan A for getting goals this season. Give the ball to Matt Breeze and have him cross it. So hopefully it happens quite regularly. So Breeze loses the ball there, but Nolan's picked it back up again. Francis has got it now, and he's put that in for Breeze. Breeze is behind his fullback again, and that is almost a carbon copy. And God, I've got to be kind of pleased with that, haven't I? See, anyone who's watched for a little while knows I'm not a tactical genius, so I can't proclaim to be one. But this is what I was talking about. This is how I wanted it to work, and it's working so far. I imagine, based on how last season went, both Matt Breeze and Keshi Anderson will be off injured before half time, and because that's just how things are going for me in non-league to legend. But that is a good start. At what point do we go counter? We're away from home, remember. We've not attacked down this left-hand side yet, and we're still not now because we've lost the ball. Parrish very close to handling the ball outside his area there. Francis has got the ball now to Slew. Breeze has come really far infield, but that's created a lot of space for Nolan because the fullback followed Breeze. That's interesting. That might be something to play with. Breeze has got the ball again to Slew, who finds Anderson, and Keshi Anderson, he's only on loan. He has a hat-trick within 20 minutes of his debut. What a signing. Said he'd be good, didn't I? I wish we had the money to go and buy him. Oh, I hope this isn't just debut flukiness. If he ends up being as good as he's already looking, we're in for a fun season. Yeah, I'm quite happy to put in more crosses because we're doing so well with them. Get the ball out to Matt Breeze. I might even... Well, I see. Every part of me wants to say, give the ball, just focus the ball down the right to Matt Breeze. But then we're messing around with too many team instructions again. And having taken a whole load of them off, we're suddenly winning 3-0 away from home after half an hour. So I don't want to start fiddling and putting loads of team instructions back on. Jordan Slew's picked up an injury here, but the only striker I've got on the bench is the 15-year-old lad, who I suppose, are we going to get many better opportunities to bring him on than when we're 3-0 up and completely controlling the game? We can't really afford for Slew to he's damaged his shoulder. That's not really going to get worse from staying on the pitch, is it? Or is it? I think I'll leave him till half time, then we'll bring the young lad on at half time. As long as we're still at least 3-0 up, we'll bring the youngster on for Slew at half time. I just don't want to mess with things too much and just throw the game away. I have a habit of doing that. When things start to go too well, I'll start making stupid decisions and it'll all go wrong. But let's bring him on. So Sean Robertson, only 15 years. I think he's 16 now, actually. Yeah, 16 years old. So there you go. That's a box ticked for your board. A player out of the youth system, coming on at half-time in the first game of the season. That's nothing to do with the fact we've only got 18 first-team players at the club. It's all part of your instructions for me. Just want to hold on to this now. Do we go counter? Do we stay as we are? I'm inclined to stay as we are while we're 3-0 up. If they start to get a goal back, perhaps we switch to counter then. That's probably a really bad tactical decision, because I probably should be doing it now when we're comfortable and can control the game. But you don't get relegated from the Conference National by being right with your tactical decisions all the time. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with the gut. I'm going to claim I was overthinking it too much last season. We're going to go back to playing by feel like we did in the Conference North. Right, let's make another change. So I'm waffling too much anyway. Oh, we don't have much on the bench, do we? This is going to be common this season. Let's bring Ryan Lloyd on, because we want him to go and get a couple of assists and get someone to pay money for him. It's almost worth sort of rotating the team around and putting Breeze on the wide midfielder and sticking Lloyd out as a winger just to let him show off a bit, but I don't really want to. Again, I don't want to tinker too much, because I know what I'm like and I'll just wreck it, and it's working well at the moment and the team is still getting used to playing this way, so I don't want to fiddle with it too much. We're going to make a final change though. We've only got a right winger or a centre back on the bench, so let's take Keith Lowe off. He's got a yellow card, and we'll bring Brockbank on for his debut. Nice game for a young lad to come on and make his debut at centre back. In theory, no danger of us losing the match. Even if he has a complete nightmare for the next 10 minutes, he shouldn't be able to throw the game away for us. Somehow we're winning 3-0 on the first day of the season and we're only in 5th place. There's been some goals go in today, but that is about as good as I could have possibly hoped for a first game of the season. Really happy with that. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you pop a like on the episode and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on tomorrow's episode, which will be probably a month or so down the line, hopefully with us top of the league. Thanks very much for watching.